that you remember.
Yeah.
Someone, Dr. Aini, when he appeared before, he had an invitation to appear before lawyers. The people who usually petition against us are to sue. Came from, he had advertised it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for that matter, and he had advertised it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for that matter, before that, you need to have that.
The timing. So why did they been
The
petition?
truth of the matter is that Godfred was on
Saying that the GLC
council. I'll tell you this. The question was whether or not Godfred.
Yes.
Yes. Itself. Even at the said no, brought so much of work of lawyers, and that it offends specific rules of engagement. Because at the time when he had engaged Richie Jakpa was engaged to lawyer Tadiosori.
Yeah.
A represented person, the attorney general or a prosecutor, should not be dealing directly with it. So it's a clear breach of the rules of engagement. So some bar council members raised it that in view of this, they would not allow him to come and deliver a speech at the bar conference.
I see.
It was a split at the bar council where some senior, I don't want to mention their name, said no, you know, this one, they should, you know, find a way to work it out. I'm just telling you that within that period, Godfred was simply untouchable. I saw that you intervened when the issue came by saying that, oh, Godfred said the medical report was to satisfy a particular end. That's not the case.
Well,
you know, I was involved in that matter with my senior doctor, and for fear that Richard Jakpa will come and testify and cross-examine, he wanted Jakpa to frame up the story in a particular way that implicates Ato Forson. And so if you listen to the audio recording, the whole idea for the medical report was to delay the trial, to allow him to travel and come back and do the cross-examination and elicit particular answers from Richard Jakpa. That is
he had a tight schedule. He had to deal with that.
So that is how witness tampering operates. Look, I've always maintained that in good conscience, Godfred Yebu Adame, if he's a Catholic, should get a Roman father and possibly do a confession and ask for forgiveness of sin.
What do you mean?
You see, you don't know the conspiracy that Godfred built to put Ato Forson in jail at all costs. It's a painful episode, and that should never happen again. Look, I don't care whether you are NDC or MPP. Look, per our rules of engagement, we are supposed to provide representation to anybody, provided it does not offend the rules. That is calling. So it matters not.
Okay.
But where an act, and that is why we say that pro-service. It is prosecution. If it is only prosecution and the prosecutor that into at because in the service for ethical, present your case and just side. That says young some years in prison only for now that no evidence the guy to the so my lord took tablet test to do time the appeal is heard every life that kind of, it doesn't matter. You see, and then you know what I usually tell them? I say, look, in my almost 12 years of practice, I've represented a lot of police officers. So you, a police officer, tomorrow, God forbid, subject matter of criminal investigation. Yeah. It had happened. I've represented police officers in court. You understand? So I always tell them that, look, deal with fellow countrymen with a certain human face, so that tomorrow, if the same rules to you, you will not be found wanted. The same thing applies to prosecutors. Let us all be fair with fellow countrymen. That's all that. As for the rest of the petition, Richard Jakpa, he appears not into the General Legal Council because on his Facebook page, received issues, his own plan for this matter, that the petitioner could become a busy.
But what would I do even say any criminal action?
No, he's not even talking about. I don't know what his plans are. His Facebook comment. He's not pleased. It appears he wants the one as far as
more like preempt.
And so I know it may be so that if the matter goes, Godfred may end up, escaping from the what is required by law, because he definitely appears not to be happy with this whole thing. Yeah. Let's look at these two scenarios. So Godfred is lawyer for Vincent Assefuah. So the first, in Relief 1, they say that Her Ladyship, the Chief Justice, was not notified. Then sending or consulting the Council of State. That's the claim. The claim of notified requires personal knowledge. So once that issue came up, on what basis did Vincent Assefuah get this privileged information that the president has not consulted Her Ladyship? So then it created an impression of some communication between the Chief Justice. Not long, the Chief Justice then to furnish her a copy and respond. So already right from the beginning, the impression has already been created by way of conduct that there's some kind of communication between lawyers for Vincent Assefuah himself, and suspended Chief Justice. Now, and it fails. Only for cases to formally come before the court. Now, get the same lawyer for Vincent Assefuah. And like you pointed out, it's about the optics. Well, say that food should be taken from the mouth of a colleague lawyer. No, this is what we do for living. And so, on that practice, he needs to make. I will not say who should be his client or who should not. Look, the head of the judiciary. Let's immediate Attorney General. There have been serious questions about that no, you have not acted. You have taken side, and for that matter, like Caesar above reproach. Yeah. You understand? Caesar should be somebody anything below the, you know, like people can gossip about or run rumor about Caesar. No. So when the story came that to do with Anthony, as the wife of Caesar, that to a certain position, you cannot do. Me, I don't want to. I am in my corner. You understand? Now, those who say they want to be a judge, they certain about them. So once you become Caesar's wife, there is a certain benchmark around you, your conduct. I would have possibly. There are many senior lawyers in this country, right? Many senior lawyers. Now, if you have a situation where serious allegations of this nature, PP itself had actually had a demonstration that you have a situation where the immediate attempt lawyer heard before the committee. Have you found out?
Yeah. Some people raised it, but I mean, we didn't get answers.
No, I mean, assuming you have my learned senior you go to, being her lawyer for them.
Well, it'll be different.
I think strategically, I don't look. To advise at all.
Yes, but you have an opinion.
But you see, there's a reason why the account, if you put in account, you are doing now who coin, and yet now so the factor. Do you get it? You are doing, and yet you know the factor. In the good book. You know, her ladyship, the Chief Justice, is a lady to believe that going forward, maybe this thing is approached. It's for not an ordinary person. If you look at our governance structure, after the president, the vice, Mr. Speaker, it's not. Look, the events play out.
Look, this matter has already been politicized, even though it's a purely constitutional
By
matter.
who?
We have allowed the politics of things
By
to
who?
also get in there. The justice going in for it's really not outside of the politics of things playing out now in this case, isn't it?
Let me tell you, I know the high hopes President had in her ladyship, the Chief Justice, becoming Chief Justice. Right. I know.
Okay.
In fact, prior to she becoming the Chief Justice, President Mahama actually said, when that he is very confident that the new Chief Justice
the one they were taken out of context.
No. Was just about exiting.
Yes.
And she was.
And they were saying that meant that GM said.
In fact, it was about no.
Yes. So, but you know, they took it out of context.
It was deliberately done. They don't provide when it happens. GM was very specific that he is so confident with her ladyship Justice Gertrude Tokonu becoming the Chief Justice. should restore, because the Afrobarometer reports created an impression that there was something untoward happening in the judiciary. And so JM, he is confident that with her leadership, the Chief Justice becoming the Chief Justice, a lot of states here, even at the political committee of the party, after FECNEC, one of the highest political, committee party, the NDC, right? When her nomination came, President Mahama indicated to the minority that there shouldn't be any opposition.
Wow.
President Mahama indicated
at the political committee level that nobody should oppose her becoming Chief Justice. So, unlike the Gawu, Kumsin and Co., whose appointment came to the entire floor for a vote to be taken on them, in the case of a leadership, the NDC minority in parliament, because it was just a minority of one, and they could have unsettled everything. All they needed was to just get one person in the MPP at that time to flip, and that should have lost. But you notice that when it came to her appointment, on the committee level, it was unanimous. Her approval was by bipartisan consent. Then on the floor, it was unanimously approved. That was the confidence President Mahama personally is Chief Justice. That is the level of confidence he had. Why? The grounds in the petition, unless President Mahama is a soothsayer or by way of clairvoyance, how was he going to see that the Chief Justice will conduct herself in that manner? I mean, how? It is just not possible that President Mahama could see into the future, assuming that they claim that, she paid so for the husband, daughter, to bother myself with the grounds. Assuming these are grounds, for which reason these decisions are taken, guess what? How could President Mahama see into the future to say that her ladyship, the Chief Justice, was going to conduct herself in a particular manner? How was that going to be possible, Alfred? And so, right from the onset, there couldn't have been any issue of politicization until the NPP, busybody, decided to drag themselves into this impeachment convention. Press conferences, not only that, they even went as far as organizing a demonstration. Didn't they do it? Look, when I listened to Godfred on one of the radio stations, makes the point that the lawyers for the petitioners are known NDC lawyers. So, wow. Yes, you can say, and without issue, that my learned senior, Mr. Chachuchikata, is a proud member of my party, and he has with that. But how in God's name do you say that you're sorry is an NDC member? Look, I'll tell you this. When I became, in 2008, the campaign promises President Mills gave was to find the killers of Isam, the Northern Regional CPP chairman. You saw the circumstance under which he died. The soldiers, his legs up, tied him up till he died. So it was one of the NDC campaign in 2008. When we power in 2009, President Mills then decided, may his soul rest in peace, to prosecute the people, the perpetrators of that murder. Guess who their lawyer for the accused person was? Mr. Tadio, sorry.
Okay.
The NDC lawyer is the one representing Mr. Sorry, and he made the point that even in Ghana at 50, at that time, my Lord Justice Kulendi was the lawyer for the Ghana at 50 people. He said he assisted them.
Yes.
And many other matters that he's done, including representing. Guess what? Because his people master was Ambrose. The two of them did. Malami says yes. Yes. So here is just a lawyer. You approach him for legal representation. He's willing and able to. Like you pointed out.
Some will even tell you, if you know Sore's family, they'll tell that he's more of MPP in terms of family, the family structure.
This man, what's the name? My own brother, Oliver. The things Oliver says about JM or the NDC government, some I can call him and say, my brother Godwin, what's happening? But that's a free-minded Ghanaian. So to suggest that the petitioners are being represented by NDC lawyers, it's mischievous and deliberate to poison the atmosphere. Now that it has come out that you are the lawyer for the CJ, now suspended, what's your response to that? Then you are all over the place. That, if it's so, then we are guilty by association. It cannot be. At least let us handle these matters in good conscience. I'm surprised that Godfred says good men should rise up. Today, if good men rise up today, you will lose his license. So I'll give you instance so that Franklin can come in.